Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We are live once again. I'm glad to be here. This is Rev Bruce, Coffee and Chat with Rev Bruce. Welcome once again. All right, y'all. We're talking about discovering the pathway to prosperity. Discovering the pathway to prosperity. I know. Here you go. Preacher online talking about prosperity. Um, this is real. This is real. This isn't a name it and claim it thing. This isn't um, getting deliverance for abundance. This isn't about that. This is about identifying a process for progressive progress towards prosperity. What's the pathway to the end game? What's the pathway to what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish? And I say this because this also, to be totally transparent, this also can help with other aspects of your life, you know, other aspects of what you're doing, um, and what you would have to apply in order to accomplish a goal. I think the thing about goals is that some people have no problem setting them. The problem is some people have a problem getting to them. And so here today, I want to tackle something that's uh, severely needed. I stated here in the description that this is guidance for those who may have already given up. This is guidance for those who might have already called it quits. And I say that because you might not you might not be on the pathway that you think because you're not making it at the pace that you want to go. You're not making it um, in the sense where you're getting this feeling where things are happening and things are falling into place, and you may not be making the type of progress you anticipated or expected. But put it in another perspective. Are you still actively making moves? Right? Um, it's not on you to make every goal and objective become a reality because life happens. There are other factors. Um, I'm still impressed with a couple of people that I've met who have started businesses in the middle of the pandemic. And they didn't just start like going on YouTube or anything like that that was fitting with being sheltered in place. They started businesses that um, heavily depended on interaction and working with other people. So it really um, it really depends on your outlook and where you are. And when you have the right outlook, you can see things in a manner the way you can get some things done. That's the business of it. When you have the right outlook, you can see some things and you can get some things done that may not have been occurring for you previously. And I say that in all fairness because that's part of the problem. I say you want to have a process. You want to have a process. Um, Brother Lawrence, in his book, The Practice of the Presence, talks about all things are possible to him who believes. All things are possible to him who believes. Right? And what Brother Lawrence was tapping into was what we call now possibility thinking. It's a positive perspective on potential outcomes. Can I say it like that? Possibility thinking is a positive perspective on potential outcomes because there's no guarantee that it's going to happen. But what is guaranteed is we can control how we respond to whatever happens. And if we gear ourselves to respond positively to whatever the outcome is, our recovery time is quicker. Our, bounce back is smoother, right? We still may have to go a distance to bounce back and rebound from the letdown, but we're still going to be on track because we haven't lost any momentum. I think I spoke about it last week. There has to be motivation, then there's movement, then there's momentum, right? Gotta be motivation. You gotta be motivated to put a thing that is inactive into action. You gotta be motivated to push that snowball. You gotta be motivated to push that snowball, make that move, right? And push it to where it begins to take that hill and roll down. And as it's rolling down and it's already in motion, it's picking up more snow along the way down, and it's creating a bigger snowball, and it's picking up momentum at the time. So it's picking up mass as well as momentum at that time. And so that snowball, we talk about that snowball effect, you've got to put something in motion for it to pick up momentum. It doesn't amass and it doesn't increase in momentum until it's in motion. And you got to be motivated to get that thing in motion. And so you don't want to just have goals. You want to have goals and have an action plan for implementing that action plan and hitting your goals and identifying what is it? How do I know that I've reached my goals? And so how do you measure progress? The process should help you measure progress. And I'm probably going to do 2 parts of this video just so you guys know, because let me outline the big picture here, right? Let me outline the big picture here and then zoom back in, right? I'm going to pan out first and then zoom back in with the big picture. And then, so big picture wise, you got your purpose, right? And from there, you'll have what it takes to maintain that, which is perseverance. And perseverance, I think, is overlooked or underrated. You pick which one you want to say, but it doesn't get enough credit. That wherewithal, the ability to withstand everything that's coming at you and still say, by the way, I'm headed that way. See ya when I get there, right? So perseverance is that thing where you're able to overcome obstacles and fend off opposition and other things that would normally get in your way. You experience it with construction, right? A lot. There's always something going on to interfere or delay or put you off when you're in construction, but that's the problem. right? So you have your purpose, you have your perseverance that you require, and then you have the persistence that's required. Persistence um, really gets you into another realm, right? Because persistence pushes past perseverance, where persistence says, I know they told me no, but I'm here anyway. Um, the woman, the Samaritan woman who was begging Jesus for something for the children to eat, she was not able to persevere until she persisted, right? And for me, it doesn't. This one's not necessarily a rule of order of which one they need to go in. This is just a big picture. It's an equation, right? It's an equation. So all parts fit together. So it's not really about order. But she would not have persevered if she had not persisted. I hope that makes sense to someone. She's begging Jesus. She's begging Jesus. Jesus is like, look, I ain't got nothing for you. Go on somewhere, right? She's begging Jesus. She's saying, hey, even a dog deserves something. You know, he's like, whew, good Lord. That was a tough one, right? You know, we're talking about tough or hard sayings of Jesus. That was one of the ones that ranks up in there, how he talks to and about this woman. And she persisted, right? There's what Jesus says in a parable about a um, a ruler or a judge in the community. A woman demanded justice and he wouldn't give it to her. And so she persisted. And Jesus said, you should always pray and not lose heart. That persistence is what gets you to persevere. But I'm not going to persist if I don't have a purpose. And those are the building blocks for progress. Those are the building blocks for progress. And so, boom, if those are the building blocks for progress, let's drill down a little bit and get into what we have here with taking action, right? What we have here with taking action. And notice it. This is definitely a pathway to prosperity. It's a pathway to prosperity that starts out as a pathway to progress. And it's a process. It's a process. It's a pathway and a process to progress. And you'll see what I'm talking about here. So number one, you've got to have action. If you have goals, you need to put action behind your goals, right? Your purpose is going to direct and drive what your pursuits are, your goals, and then you've got to take action with that. And you've got to push in and push towards what that's going to be as far as that action item. You want to lose weight, that usually boils down to diet and exercise. Your actions should include a lot of verbs, the things you're going to do. The things you're going to do. And so if you're not using a lot of verbs when you're talking about action, I don't think that much is happening, right? So first off, you want to take action with your goals. That's perfectly fine. Secondly, every goal needs a measurable outcome. Every goal needs a measurable outcome. This allows you to be held accountable. All right. You made 5 phone calls today, right? But what did that amount to, right? You took the action, but what did that amount to? Okay, so I took the action. Did I get the result I wanted? Right? So I'm taking notes. I took the action. Is there a next step? Is there a follow-up? I'm being held accountable by the action. Right? And so it doesn't stop at what I feel is okay. It doesn't stop there. It continues because there's a measurable outcome that's holding me accountable for the way I'm taking action on this goal. Does that make sense? Somebody give me a thumbs up in the chat if that makes sense. Something, right? And so you're taking action and you're holding yourself accountable. These two are a critical combination because what John C. Maxwell says on here is change requires action. Change. Any type of change that you want is going to require some type of action. Even if it's just opening the closet and evaluating, do I keep it or toss it? Do I do something with it or donate it? Right? That's what it boils down to. And so every goal needs a measurable outcome, and we need to take action based upon our goals. Let's flip this. So then on the other side, you can identify how to measure success. How to measure success. Have you achieved your intent? How do you measure success? Have you achieved your intent? This is different from the other one where we just talked about a measurable outcome. One is, what is the measurable outcome? The other one is, did I hit it? Right? Here we go, y'all. Back at another point in my life, I played basketball. And the measurable outcome was points. Right? And you'd say the goal was, hey man, I'm gonna score 15, maybe 20 tonight. By the time you get on the bus and talk to the statistician, and they say, well, you hit 12. I had identified the measurable outcome, but I didn't hit it. I didn't reach it. And so it's not until after I've taken action and looked at my results do I know if I've hit my goal or not. And that measurable outcome is there. Hey, I need to earn $25 per hour doing Uber Eats during peak hours. Okay, well, that's possible. And that's a measurable outcome. But guess what? You may have hit 25 at hour number 2, but hour number 1, you were sitting there waiting for orders. Or hour number 1, you only got that sushi order for $7 to deliver around the corner. And so by the time you get done with your averaging of what you've done during a 3 to 4 hour span, you'll know, you'll be able to identify if you hit your goal. That's your achievement. Hope that helps. So you've got that with achievement, and then boom, here we are with advancement. You gotta know where you want to go. Right? You gotta know where you want to go beyond where you are today. Right? Because that's giving you not just big picture, but long term. That's giving you not just here and now, but where we're headed. And when we look at that, that's going to give you identifiers, measurements, indicators for progress. For progress. And if we don't have a process that helps us identify progress, we have a process where we may be at the mercy of the implementation plan and it being a spinning wheel. Because we're never going to get off this ride because we keep looping back into the same thing without any real change. And you don't want to get caught up in that, because listen, your achievements are determined by you setting an agenda, an action plan, and remaining accountable. You've got it. You got this plan, you implement it, and then how do you identify if it's getting you anywhere? And that's the progress part. How you prosper is how you advance. Yeah, I can put this out here with different numbers for money, but what about if you need this to put a plan together to start doing the paperwork to start your nonprofit or your church plan? What about if you need this to do some of the work that it's going to take to get a destination wedding planned and set to occur within the next 18 months? What if you've been tasked with taking over the family reunion 2 years from now? How you gonna do it? You gotta have something measurable. You gotta have something measurable that you can do and keeps you on track, gives you your progress points, right? And as you're doing it, you're able to check off what you've done, but also where you've made achievements and accomplishments and what you can knock off, and simply say, I'm advancing. I'm moving forward. I'm moving on up. I'm getting there. But if you're not keeping your eye on this big picture, somehow things get distorted and you truly become off track because you're not following the process. You're just going in it, strictly on emotions. That's not how it works. So I said this may be 2 parts. I may do it in a separate video, a separate long form video connected to some shorts. I don't know. I'll be out there and let y'all know, but I definitely can see this as getting in the way of someone who doesn't really have a plan, doesn't really have things in order. Listen, y'all, listen. Give up on getting away with not being prepared. give up on getting away with not being prepared. Time's up on that. It's time to come to realization that you need to get your stuff in order, get organized, and get on it. Nobody's going to baby you. Nobody's going to say it's okay, no problem, pat you on the back, pat you on the backside, and usher you on. No. Get up, get organized, and get on it. You're not going to get away with giving up right now. You're not going to get away with that right now because no one else is going to pick you up. They're not going to send a reconnaissance team to come rescue you and say, man, thought we had lost a good one. No. Get up, get organized, and get on it. You've got to get your stuff together and get out of this situation, whatever it might be, and get ahead. You want to make progress. You've got to put in the time to make progress. I would so much rather have long-lasting success that might take some time to achieve rather than overnight success that burns out quickly. I so much would rather have that. And I say that because you're going to keep showing up one day and then finally realize you're in the loop that doesn't open up or let you back in. Hey, that's the best I can say. And I'm saying it from the heart. It's Rev Bruce, Coffee and Chat. Hope you've been able to find the incentive to keep going. God bless.